What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the 10-7 MMA Show. And we are doing the show on the road today. Welcome back. We are broadcasting live from Missoula, Montana. I'm actually in the airport. Sorry if there might be some background noise. Just landed about 5 minutes ago, and Justin is here ahead of time. He's at the hotel. I'm about to go meet him up shortly. But, anyways, Justin, how's it going? How's the trip over?
Man, it's fucking cold right now. It's like 40 degrees. I'm in my room, but me, I like to be cold, so I have the air conditioning on in my room. I put my jacket on. I'm chilling, baby. It's a beautiful day in Montana.
Thank God I remembered to bring my jacket. I remembered it right as I was heading out the door in the morning, so that's going to be clutch. Okay, well, we are getting ready. If you guys are unaware, to be commentating for Fusion Fight League. If you guys do want to check out Fusion Fight League, you can purchase the fights tonight through the Triller app. You can download that to your phone. I think it's $7.99 or $6.99 a month if you want full access to all of the Fusion Fight League fights. It's going to be super fun. There's some fighters that I saw in back in June that are coming back to this fight card. Actually, two fighters in particular. I just realized that are both now matched up against each other, which is pretty wild. So that's going to be really fun. But anyways, check it out if you guys have an interest. But we got a lot of stuff happening in the world of mixed martial arts. Now, we were going to have, this was going to be really exciting. We were going to have Brad Tavares on the show, but unfortunately, he was unable to make it. Something came up at the last minute. But the main thing was we want to come back to this Holloway versus Topuria fight and matchup. And Justin made a video earlier this week. I think a lot of you guys or some of you guys saw it. A lot of you guys disagreed with Justin. So Justin, first tell us. I don't want to spoil it because I know Brad's going to come next week. But in a nutshell, I mean, Brad was kind of agreeing with you. Do you have some of the bullet points or some of the reasons why he feels Max is going to come away victorious?
Me and Brad talked about it briefly for a second at the gym. It's just Max's takedown defense is so underestimated. On the video I posted, one of my bullet points of why I don't think. And here's the thing, guys. Like, you guys are all getting all butthurt and stuff, saying I'm disrespectful, saying I'm this and that. It's just my opinion. Could I be wrong? Absolutely, I could be wrong. That's why the guys get in there and do the dance. And whether I'm wrong or you're wrong, or it doesn't matter. I know I'm going to get feedback for it, and I don't really give a fuck what you guys think. I just want Max to win. I know you guys saying I'm Dana Whiting over him, but man, dude, look at this guy's career and look at his takedown defense. And you talk. I have one comment on the video is although Max has an 84% takedown defense percentage, like he hasn't fought any wrestlers, and it's like you guys know he fought Frankie Edgar, right? You guys know he fought Brian Ortega, right? Like Brian Ortega is an ace grappler, almost subbed Alexander Volkanovski with a guillotine choke. Like he's every. And here's another thing: anybody that's in the UFC can wrestle. Like it's whether they do or not. Justin Gaethje, excuse me, Division I wrestler, again not known for his wrestling, but still a wrestler at his at heart. So, Brad talked, about the takedown defense, and I think he can get struggle. And with that being said, as a wrestler, if Ilya goes in there and tries to take him down as an unsuccessful early in the fight, I mean, how's that going to play on his psyche? He hasn't. I think Ilya's maybe lost one round in his UFC career, or maybe his whole career out of 15 fights. He got dropped. My boy Josh Crisp, commented on the video. He goes, well, he did lose this round to this guy. I can't remember what his name was. And that's exactly to my point. Like, he lost a round to a nobody. Everybody Max Holloway has fought in the last 10 years has either become the UFC champ or has fought for the belt numerous times. And most of them have become the UFC champ. Jose Aldo, arguably the greatest 45 pounder of all time. Obviously at the end of his career, but all you new fans didn't get to see him in WC. Didn't get to see him early on. Man, when he fought the California kid, why can't I think of his name? Help me out here. The California kid, Uriah
I know
Faber.
you're right,
Uriah
Faber. Yeah,
Faber.
yeah, yeah.
Man, he fucking tore him apart, dude. And I don't know, man. Like, I look at when I look at this guy's resume and I look at his credentials, this guy is the real deal, man. And he's so humble. And I think that's what I like most about him. Yeah,
Oh, sorry.
Jai
By the way,
Herbert. That's what it was. Yep. Thanks, Bruce. Hey, thanks,
yeah.
Bryce. Or Bruce, excuse me. But yeah, Jai Herbert. That's right. That's who it was. And he lost that round to him. I think he got dropped even. So I
He
mean,
did.
again, and again, Topuria can win this fight. This is not, I'm not swaying you guys saying 100% Max is going to win. I just gave you 5 reasons why I think he's going to win. And he's going to become one of the greatest, if not the greatest featherweight champion of all time next weekend.
Yeah, and it's a very that's why this fight is so compelling, and that's why it's so interesting. I think there's a lot of great arguments to be made on both sides. So I haven't told you this yet, Justin, but I'm planning to make a video on the other side this weekend or early next week about why I think Ilya might actually come out victorious. I think you make a lot of really valid points. But speaking of that Jai Herbert fight in particular, so I remember the Bryce Mitchell fight very well, but I rewatched the Jai Herbert fight. I watched it back before I kind of really knew who Ilya was. He was more on the come up, and he had some buzz around him, but I didn't know too much about him. And I think some people have pointed to the Jai Herbert fight and said the body structure and the lankiness, the length is similar to Max Holloway, and maybe that's going to provide problems to Topuria. But one of the things that I thought was interesting about that fight is you mentioned he got dropped. It was really just one leg kick. It was the shin straight to the head. And not that it's saying it was a lucky kick, but it was one kick that dropped him. But what I was impressed by from Ilya is he didn't miss a beat and he was able to transition right into the ground game. So it wasn't a takedown, but it almost like he got dropped and he grabbed his legs from the ground position and then was able to work him down to the ground. And if you also watch his jiu-jitsu, obviously, you mentioned Brian Ortega, who probably has a higher degree of jiu-jitsu, I imagine, than Ilya Topuria. But he does just seem like such a well-rounded fighter, maybe more well-rounded even than Alexander Volkanovski and some of these other fighters that Max Holloway has fought. So it's a very interesting matchup. I do feel like Ilya is a new breed, and he is just this fighter, with a pure mixed martial arts background as opposed to other specialties and then transitioning or adopting. So it's very interesting. And the fact that he's so confident, you see that playing against him, for him. What do you think about that?
I mean, confidence to me is a mask. He might get in the cage and have to take that mask off and realize, fuck, I'm in a bad position. Now, again, I agree with you when you talk about him being this new breed of MMA fighter. He's not a wrestler. He's not a boxer. He's not a grappler. He is an MMA fighter, and that is where the sport is transitioning. I think that's why I'm so hyped for Max, because again, he's been in the UFC since 2012. He's that old breed that I've been watching, and it's just so hard for me to give up on these guys, and again, they've entertained me. I mean, entertained everyone for, 15 years. We're going into 2025. He's been in the UFC for 13 years. It's so hard for me to be, against or say that, oh, this new kid's going to come in. And it might happen. I mean, Ilya is an incredible striker. He's an incredible fighter, he's just an incredible fighter in general. But I just can't, I got to stick with the old dogs. I'm an old dog. I've been around since 2007. I've been fighting since 2007. I fought in the UFCs for a couple of years. And, I just can't root against the old dogs, man. I just can't. And Max is an old dog and arguably one of the greatest featherweights of all time. And going up to 155 in his last fight, coming back down to 45, I am concerned about his weight cut. He looked.
Ooh,
I
that's
am concerned about his. I'm not worried about him making weight. I'm worried about how he feels once he makes weight, because I've watched a couple interviews of him because I want to see his confidence. And you know what? What speaks confidence over what Max Holloway's confidence over Ilya is Max is always just smiling like, hey, brother, like whatever, man. Hey, we go out, we do the, like Hawaiian. And Ilya's very like sergeant, like, oh, I'm gonna knock him out. I'm gonna knock him out. I'm gonna knock him out. It's like he's serious about it. And Max in all his fights, he was like, whatever. I saw a video this morning of when Holloway was supposed to fight Habib, that they're on the treadmills next to each other. I don't know if you saw that. I saw it this morning,
no.
and like the whole Russian team is, it's kind of goofy because they're cutting weight next to each other, and like all the Russians are standing around him, like waiting for something to happen. And after they get off the treadmill, he's like, oh, it's such an honor to fight you. You're such a legend. And obviously the fight didn't happen, but it
Right.
just goes to show the respect that Max Holloway has for all his opponents. And I know Max Holloway isn't overlooking Ilya Topuria. He knows he has a tough task in front of him. And he knows this might not go his way. But you know what? He knows the fight game, and he knows the win. He knows how to win. He knows how to lose. He's gracious when he wins. He's gracious when he loses. Like I'm excited about it, and I'm excited for Max to get in there and do his thing.
It's such a fun fight because there's just so many ways that it could unravel, and who knows, maybe Ilya goes in saying he's going to get a first round knockout, it doesn't happen, and that could hit his confidence, or maybe not. I don't know, and so that's what makes it so interesting. We got some comments that I want to feature here. So Toron Brown, what's up? Welcome back. He mentions, in my opinion, Holloway fights his best fight when being counted out. I mean, he was pretty counted out against Justin Gaethje. I guess in retrospect that was a totally wrong take. I don't know, but that is a fair point there. And he also says a pissed off Holloway is a dangerous Holloway. One other thing that Toron said, which I want to get your thoughts on, Justin, he said I might get called delusional for saying this, but I feel Volkanovski was beating Ilya with his jab. His jab was very effective. He had Ilya's face right with the jab. I think Volk did win round one. I think that might be true on at least two, if I remember correctly, on maybe two of the judges' scorecards. I could totally be getting that wrong. So perhaps that's a valid point. But I don't know. It was, I mean, the way it ended, it was quite dominant. He went in there aggressive. I thought that was a fantastic win. Okay, Bruce. People don't. Oh wait, Justin. Let me get your thoughts on that first. I mean, what do you think about him being counted out and being a dangerous fighter when his back's against the wall? Do you agree with that, or do you think that's not really going to have
Dude,
an
I tell
impact?
you what, you know, for my, I loved being the underdog, man. I fucking loved it when guys like when I fought Troy Lamson early on in my career, is 25-0. You know, not as a pro, he was 7-0 as a pro and like 18-0 as an amateur. And man, like everyone was rooting against me and thought I was gonna lose, and I go in there and just beat the shit out of this guy for 25 minutes. I feel that athletes rise to the occasion, champions like Max Holloway rise to the occasion when they because there's no pressure. You know, everyone, dude. I mean, I don't. Maybe I've gotten two positive feedback comments on that video I posted about thinking Max can win. Everyone else is dogging me, and to put Max in that position is, dude. You put a dog in a corner. This guy's gonna fight his way out. And like I said in my video, that I feel Ilya has a lot of pressure in his striking. He backs guys up to the fence, and once he gets them back to the fence, knows they can't go. Once they get to a point where they can't back up any further, he unleashes hell on them. And I just don't see him
Yeah.
backing Max up to the fence. I'm not saying it's impossible, and he might do it a couple times during the fight, but I can't see him doing it for 25 minutes straight. I just can't see it.
Yeah. Okay. Fair point. Yeah. It's funny you say that because I hear fighters say, "Yeah, no, I like it when I'm the underdog," but I don't know if they're just saying that to pump themselves up or if it's legit. But from what you're saying, and that makes a lot of sense, right? If everybody thinks it's going to go a certain way, then you feel all this pressure, like you have to win just to keep the status quo. I get that. I totally get that, and I kind of get that even in my business and in my career. You know. Okay, so let's go with Bruce here. By the way, he says people don't understand this. What's your take on this, Justin? People don't understand that Max wasn't in his prime when he was the champion. The way his body is starting to fill out now, the way he's fighting, he's in his prime now. Agree? Disagree? What do you think?
Well, I agree with Bruce when he fought Justin Gaethje. All right, and the reason I say that is because, dude, look at his physique compared. I mean, he was just filled out, and unfortunately, and I can't agree with this to a sense. And this is a great take. I'm really happy about this comment. But the thing is, he's going back down to 145. So how is he going to look? And I've looked at a couple interviews, and his face already looks sunken in. He's a week out. His face is already sunken in. And that's concerning to me. I know Max is going to make weight. He's a professional. He's done it time and time again. But how is he going to feel after fighting at 155? Because he talked about all the muscle mass he put on, and it's not like, hey, I'm going to 45.
Right.
All right, that muscle is just going to fall off. That's not how the body works. When I was going from 155 to 160 to 170, and then had to cut to 45, and I was like, oh, just lose some muscle in your legs, lose some muscle in, here and there. It's like it's not like you just stop doing a bench press and your muscle falls off, because your
Right.
muscles are constantly being used when you're wrestling, when you're grappling, when you're striking. So just to lose that, the calorie deficiency is where he's going to lose the muscle to make the weight, which being said is he has less calories and less of an energy source to replenish. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what these weigh-ins look like and seeing how Max looks and feels after the weigh-ins on Friday.
I'm can't wait all of next week. I can't wait for all the interviews and all the little bits of information we're going to get, and the weigh-ins I think are going to be telling. That's a really good point, man. Now that you mentioned the weight, which I hadn't even been thinking of that much, I'm really feeling I'm feeling stronger about Ilya winning. But let's go to a couple more comments, and we want to move on to the next topic. Lane says, "Sorry to say, but Ilya is going to finish Max. I guess going
Lane,
against."
oh my
Yeah,
God.
I don't
Hey,
know.
we got to get some of these guys on
Yeah,
here to
yeah.
bet with us. Like, not money, but like, hey, look, like, I don't know, like we could make like some kind of friendly bet. So like,
Ooh.
okay, guys, for instance, so I have a buddy, his name's Aaron. He's a professional bettor. He's a Vikings fan. I'm the Lions fan. They play this weekend. And we're debating on doing a bet where if I lose or if the Lions lose, I think I get I think I get 1.5 points. I have to shave my beard and grow all the hair out on my top of my head for like 6 months, and I have to keep my beard shaved clean. And if he loses, he has to shave his head and grow his beard. So like something fun like that could be. And as you can imagine, my hair only grows here, and it's very like light fuzz on the top. And I think I'd look pretty hideous. But I think Aaron would look pretty bad bald too. So I mean, some kind of
Oh
bet like
my.
that, guys. If you guys want to jump in and want to shoot us anyways, like anything we can do for fan interaction. Me and I know Jose
Yeah,
won't dare touch his hair, but
I won't do that.
maybe he'll grow a beard or something. Maybe he'll grow a beard or something.
Face tattoo, face tattoo. All right, let's
Yeah.
keep it moving here. Okay, so moving on to number two. I just continue to be blown away by Alex Tejeda. I can't stay away from him. I'm still like searching for videos and interviews on the regular, even though the fight's long in the past now. Well, not that long in the past, but yeah. So Alex Tejeda went on this week onto Ariel Helwani's new show, and he did an interview. I sometimes have a hard time listening to the interviews with the translators. It just feels like it messes up the flow. But I really wanted to hear what he had to say. Now listen to this, and I know you might say, hey, like everybody's got stuff going on in these camps, so not to put too much weight on it, but I found out that not only did he have the toe injury that was problematic, not only did he have the rib injury, he was really, really sick before he left Brazil, which I believe was 5 weeks out from the fight. He had to take a week round of very strong antibiotics. Then he had to do another round of antibiotics for a week. I think 1 week leading up to the fight, which is insane. So he was sick. He had to take antibiotics, which obviously, everybody says really impedes your cardiovascular, your endurance. And he had all these injuries, yet he seemed to come alive and he seemed to get stronger as the rounds go on. So I'm really at a loss for that performance. I'm really not understanding how he was able to pull this off. I mean, what are your thoughts when you hear? Are you still not that impressed with all these circumstances, or what do you think?
I mean, being in the situation, that all fighters are put in, we're all, like I've said this before, and I sound like a broken record, but we're all dealing with injuries all the time, man. And being sick, I mean, imagine, like, think of a cesspool, like a wrestling mat or a grappling mat, especially if the heat's on, is a cesspool of bacteria and viruses and fungus and all this and I'm not surprised by it. Alex Pereira is a champion. He's a champion amongst champions. He's fighting champions every fight, and he's just continually knocking everybody out. I mean, Alex Pereira is doing what champions do. They find ways to win fights no matter what. So as much as I hate to negate or be like it's not that impressive, I mean, he's a world-class champion doing what world-class champions do. They find ways to win.
I want to show a comment that Tehran just posted. I think I missed this part of the interview because I didn't watch the whole thing, but I tried to watch as much of it as I kind of could. Again, the translation it just interrupts the enjoyment to me. But Tehran said Alex said he was willing to fight in December. I don't even know what to make of this. It's just so
I
impressive.
just I just saw a meme I wanted to send you, and it's like breaking news, like Alex Pereira getting losing is getting stripped from his belt, and I was like, oh shit! Like I click it, and it's like due to the fact that Alex Pereira hasn't fought in 9 days, the UFC has decided to strip him from his belt, and I was like, oh, that's fucking awesome. That was catchy. All right, your clickbait got me. Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, it's just so wild, but I believe it. And then, yeah, Lane seconded this. He said Alex said he would 100% be ready to fight in December. I hope he does. I kind of hope he. I don't know. I'm torn. Yeah, I don't actually. If he's gonna fight, what's his name, Ankalaev, I don't want him to fight in December. I want him to recover and I want him to be at his best. The last thing I want to see at this point is him lose. It'd be just so devastating. I think for the fans. He's on this incredible ride. Another really cool thing about Alex that he mentioned in the interview is he talks about how he thinks he's totally happy for Izzy. He loves the career that Izzy's on, and how Izzy said in one of his interviews he doesn't want to fight Alex again because he loves being one of the few people that beat him, and he wants to kind of end on the high note. And Alex was like, "Yeah, I respect that." He's like, "I think if I was in his position, I'd do the same thing." He's just so interesting, and they built up this rivalry between the two of them, and yet it just seems like he has. I think it goes both ways, but he just seems like he's only saying positive things about Izzy. I mean, what is it? I don't know. Maybe I'm just going on too much, and as people are saying,
Not at all.
glazing. But yeah, what do you think? I mean, what does it say to you about his character, and
Listen,
does this increase your fandom of him?
some people aren't going to agree with this, and I don't really care, but Izzy built Alex. If it wasn't for the Izzy rivalry, Alex probably wouldn't even be the champ yet. I mean, he was shot into title contention so fast because of Izzy. If they had a different champion in there and there wasn't this kickboxing rivalry prior, like I don't think Alex would have been shot into stardom that fast. I mean, how many fights did he have before he got a title fight? Like three?
I can't remember, three, maybe four, but
I mean,
yeah,
there's
that's very
guys
quick.
on how many, and as much as I don't care for him as a fighter, but I do respect him as a fighter. How many fights did Bilal have until not wins? how many fights? Because he was on like a 10
Right.
fight win streak and he lost and he won before that. So how many fights do you have? 12 fights?
Right. Let me look it up. I'm going to see right now.
Like
But that's a great
I
point.
mean, is the foundation, the Izzy rivalry is the foundation to why Alex is where he's at right now and got there so fast. And if anybody disagrees, they're just plain wrong. And Alex is an incredible fighter, and he's one of my favorite fighters. But because of the rivalry, he was able to be shot to the top in no time.
All right, so Tehran says, I agree. Without Izzy, there's no Alex Pereira. And Lane says he'll make a friendly bet. So, Lane, why don't you put something in
Hey.
this video afterwards? Maybe you could challenge Justin to one of these hair and beard bets. You guys could go to town. I think I would stay out of that. But anyways, I just thought it was cool, so I wanted to share that story. And you guys should check out that Alex Pereira interview on Ariel's show. Okay, the next topic that was interesting that has also, again, come from Ariel's show. By the way, you guys got to check out, if you're not fans of Ariel Helwani, what he's doing now is amazing. He used to do a show only twice a week, Monday and Wednesdays. Now he's got content pretty much coming out 5 days a week between him and his crew. He's doing stuff Monday through Thursday. I mean, it's amazing. Every day you can look at a new fighter interview, something super cool. And to me, he does the best interviews on the planet. I love watching him. I try to learn from him. Whenever I'm in the position to do an interview, it's just so fun. But anyways, so he interviewed Dustin Poirier. First of all, Dustin said he saw Conor at a recent event, and he says, like, if we would have seen each other face to face and made eye contact, we would have fought. No questions asked. It would have been a fight. It would have been a scrap on sight unseen, right? But anyways, it didn't happen. His manager steered him away, and all was good. Thank God. But Dustin said on the show that he is not only coming back to fight, he's confirmed it, but he said that he's coming back for 2 final fights. And he wouldn't say who. He said some names have been discussed, but they're going to be big fights, big name value. Maybe not obviously for title contention, but they're going to be big fights. Justin, since I don't know if you've seen the interview or not, but I kind of want to throw it out to you. In your world, in your mind, who would you like to see Dustin match up for his final 2 fights?
I want to see Dustin in a 4-man tournament for the BMF belt. And whoever they match him up against, they take Max Holloway, Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, Michael Chandler. They do a bracket of 4. And and Dana White has talked about being open to it. In a 4-man tournament, that's 2 fights in one night. Now, although Dana White's open to it, they're going to have to probably do it in Saudi Arabia because I don't see the commission letting it fly in the U.S., but I know they will overseas. So I think that would be an incredible way to end his career. 4-man tournament. Dustin Poirier goes in there, wins his first fight, maybe wins the second fight, becomes the BMF champ, retires on the spot after the first 4-man tournament since 1990. It might have been 91, but it was in the early 90s they stopped doing the tournament.
It's super cool. I actually heard a different interview, and it might have been Dustin's or somebody else mentioned that they brought this up to Dana White and talked about it to Dana White, and he was like, "Oh, this could be interesting," but he's like, "Oh, wait, you want it all in one day?" And he said exactly what you said, that it's not going to get commissioned. Now, maybe, but so Dana White basically was like, "Nah, that's not going to happen because of the commission issue." Maybe they could do it in Saudi, but it seems like let's take that off the table because I think that's kind of unlikely. In the event that we can't, they're not able to get this 4-man tournament. If you had just some names, do you want to see him fight Conor McGregor again? Do you want to see him take on Nate Diaz? Is the Justin Gaethje rematch, a trilogy, something that's interesting to you? Or do you even just give me one? What's one big fight you want to see? One big challenge you want to see Dustin Poirier take on?
I think they should, man. I don't really care to watch him fight Conor again. I think he's just so far ahead of Conor from a skill set. Like all he's doing is risking getting hit by that left cross because that's really all Conor has for him. It's been shown time and time again. He's whooped his ass the last 2. I didn't even think the fights were competitive. I won so much money off those fights. Like it was nonsense. Nate Diaz, I think Dustin Poirier tools him up. But when we talk about someone like Justin Gaethje, the highlight, I mean, he's my favorite fighter, dude. Line him up. I believe they're 1-1.
Yeah,
Am I right?
1-1.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
1-1. Let's
Mhm.
settle the rivalry, man. And then the winner of that gets to fight for, I don't know, maybe make that the first round of the BMF tournament, and then even if they don't do it in the same night, but still have a tournament, 6 months apart or 3 months apart. I've seen 8-man proposition. I've seen 4-man proposition. Like you could do a 3, like look at the way the PFL does it, man. I tell you what, the format of the PFL is incredible. I love it. I love
Yep.
everything the PFL is doing. Unfortunately, it's just not as mainstream right now. But the UFC could take note. With that being said, will they do that like that because the PFL is doing, and then people might be like, oh, the UFC is trying to be like the PFL, and that might help them out too. So I'm not really sure. I think 2 fights in one night overseas would be very original, and it'd be very original to the original UFC. And as long as the commission would be okay with it, I think that'd be awesome. And if they're not okay with it, Justin Gaethje's the first guy in line, I think.
All right, so we got some comments here. I'm going to post them. By the way, we're at a new high right now. So all you guys who are watching right now live on the stream, we got a nice little following. It's biggest for us. We just had 17 people. Okay, drop down. But thank you guys, everybody joining along. And if you guys could like the stream, we'd really appreciate it. But we do have some people agreeing with you on this Gaethje fight. I can see Gaethje being one of Dustin's fights. But I got to say something you haven't mentioned. I mean, we got the Colby Covington fight. I think that would be very, very interesting. You're
I would
not a
love
fan?
that. I would love that fight. I just don't ever see it happening. And and how devastating. If Colby's obviously gonna be a bigger guy, and he's very wrestling, grappling heavy. Like, how devastating would it be? The reason I don't want that fight is because if Colby somehow grinded out a decision win by holding
Yeah.
Dustin Poirier against the fence with his size alone, that would be such a fucking bummer, and it'd be such a loss for Dustin because losing to Colby Covington at this point in his career is, I mean, that you're going to lose a lot of stature in your own legacy. And I think Dustin Poirier has put together such a great legacy, beating Conor McGregor twice after losing and beating all these other guys. If somehow he went against Colby Covington, as much as I'd want to see him go in there and beat the shit out of him, if Colby got him against the fence and was able to hold him there for 25 minutes and ground out a boring decision, I would be devastated for Dustin Poirier.
I totally get that, and I hate that for the outcome for him. But on the flip side, it's like very low lows, but those high highs. Imagine if he's one of the first people to really deliver Colby Covington a devastating knockout and leave on that note, right? Right the wrong, right all the issues that they had between them. I think it would 100% be the headline fight of what it could be a headline fight of a UFC like main event. You know what I mean? It could be so huge. I think it would get a ton of fan interest. The smack talking would be a little bit uncomfortable because he'd probably do some dirty stuff, Colby Covington. I mean, obviously, but man, if he could pull that off, I think it'd be exciting, and it gets me excited. So, anyways, that's my 2 cents. Love to see what everybody else thinks. All right, moving on to topic number 4, your teammate. So again, this is something that I want to talk about because your teammate and also Francis Ngannou's teammate Brad Tavares was going to join us, but maybe we can revisit this on Monday after the fight takes place. But the fight is tomorrow. I'm watching this thing. I'm buying the pay-per-view. I can't wait. I've been watching footage of Hernan Ferreira, and dude, he's crazy, man. He seems tough. His striking is wicked. He's tall. He's taller. He's 6'8". So he's a huge dude. How excited are you for this fight?
I love this fight, man. And I tell you what, not very often do you get to see someone look down on Francis Ngannou. And when you guys get in there, stare off, and like I said, like I've told you guys before, Francis's locker and mine are right next to each other. There's my locker, there's Sean Strickland's locker, and there's Francis Ngannou's locker. So imagine I go to my locker, I'm the smallest guy in this, and then Ray Cefo's on the left of me, and he's just as big as almost as big as Francis. So when I go to my locker and I stand next to Francis, and he's kneeling down, getting his gear out of his bottom locker, and him and I are eye to eye. It's like, that's a big motherfucker. Like, and to say that this guy's bigger than him, are you kidding me? This is the PFL has done an incredible job, and it's not rocket surgery. They're doing an incredible job. They're labeling it as Battle of the Giants, and this is exactly what it is. There's no bigger MMA fighters, physically bigger or physically more skilled than these two guys fighting tomorrow night.
People have been asking me all week, who do you think's going to win? Who do you think's going to win? I'm like, yo, this is a heavyweight fight with 2 strikers. I mean, I feel as though Francis should win, but you just kind of really don't know. It's truly, truly up in the air because it's probably going to end very early. It's probably going to end somewhere in the first round, I imagine. And Hernan Ferreira could really get it done. I don't know. It's a wild, wild fight. This is going to be an incredible event. I hope a lot of people watch this. I hope PFL really can promote the heck out of it leading up to tomorrow and getting a lot of people to buy it because I think it's going to be so sick. And I think everybody's going to be talking about it on Monday. Have you been training it? Well, I know you obviously can't spar with Francis, but has he been at Extreme Couture training alongside you guys?
I'll be honest. I haven't been going to pro practice probably since my fight in May. Kind of just kind of staying out of that realm for now, just trying to get my shit together. But I
Got it.
haven't seen Francis as much as I usually do. Because the heavyweights spar at 11 a.m. on Tuesdays, and I know that because I always see Sean walking in with his coffee, at 10:30. So I don't know where he's been sparring, or maybe he's been at the gym and I just haven't seen him. But I haven't seen him as much as I normally do. So, and I've seen Eric. I talk to Eric, all the time. So I'm sure they have a great game plan. And again, he probably is in the gym, and maybe I just haven't seen him, which would be hard to miss. But I mean, I'm expecting Ngannou to come out and take the fire because he has so much hype behind him and all the striking work he's been doing for boxing. I'm really excited to see
Yeah.
how he translates his boxing training back into MMA.
Me too. I can't wait. It's a very, very exciting fight. A lot of questions will be answered. So let's go. Let's see what happens tomorrow. I hope you guys are excited. Tehran says, I don't think Ngannou versus Ferrara. This is an interesting tape. I disagree. Is going to be that good. I see it being like Lewis versus Ngannou, where guys are afraid to engage. I don't know. I mean, you actually that could happen.
I don't know, man. If I'm on the opposing end of Francis Ngannou, it's like this is my one shot. This is my opportunity. I have to go all out. But that's just me. I don't know this guy personally that Francis is fighting. Obviously, I've seen him fight a bunch. He's a freaking killer. But this is his opportunity to show the world who he is. And if he comes in and does a Derek Lewis, Francis Ngannou fight, he's going to be forgot about really soon. But he has an opportunity to knock out the baddest man on the planet. And if he's not in there throwing hands and putting it all on the line, shame on him. And hopefully the PFL doesn't fuck with him anymore.
I think it's going to be a great fight. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be phenomenal. By the way, before we move on to the final topic, Western Mass Climber did throw this out. I thought it was an
Really?
interesting point. He said Dustin is actually bigger than Colby, which I did not know. I know Dustin's on the slightly on the bigger side, but yeah, maybe they are around the same weight, walk around weight. So that's an interesting point as well. I really want to see that. I really, really, really want to see that. I think that's the one. It's got to be the one, and maybe not the
I would be so
retirement fight.
nervous. I'll be honest. Just be so nervous.
I
I'd be
would too.
excited about the fight, but I'd be emotionally involved, worried
Me too.
about. I mean, Dustin Poirier is a guy that I want all my fighters to look up to. He's a guy that he aspires kids. Like, his charity work is incredible. His hot sauce is fire. I have all of them. Like, he's an incredible fighter on and off the mic. He's a family man. He's what everybody needs to be. And to go in there, and if somehow he loses a decision to Colby Covington, the scum of the UFC, like, Colby Covington is a piece of shit. I've never heard an MMA fighter say a single good word about the guy. And not even as a character. Like, he's a piece of shit. He's a liar. I've seen John Jones talk about how he's a liar. He's a con artist. He's this, he's that. It's not just a character. And, kind of like the Vince McMahon documentary that I watched, that, his alter ego is Mr. McMahon. And, everybody in the documentary says, well, that was Vince, just kind of uh, ma-
Amped up.
amped up. Yes, exactly. And that's what Colby is. Like, his character on screen is just him, just amped up times 100. So, man, if Dustin, I'd be so nervous. I don't get nervous for fights that I don't know the people, like, personally know them, but I'd be nervous for
Yeah.
that fight because I'd be worried at Dustin tarnishing his legacy.
God, I would be too, because it just makes it so compelling. And yes, it would hurt if he lost, but if he wins, man, that would be it would be incredible. So I guess we'll see what the UFC decides. By the way, Celine's chiming in with some predictions. That's awesome. Celine says Ngannou is going to win. Love it.
Woo!
Thank you, Celine. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Keep the predictions coming. Okay, we are gonna move on to our final topic. So this one, I also want to get Brad's take on this next week, because I don't get it. Like, I saw James, what's his name, James, I can't remember his name, the
Lynch?
journalist. No, James Lynch, there you go. I
Lynch.
don't want to think of Lynch. Yeah, James Lynch. So James Lynch, I love these series. He asked all these professional MMA fighters what they think about particular matchups, and he did part 3. It just came out, and it said 31 professionals to 6 pick Whittaker over Khamzat. And I'm just kind of like, and I know you're picking Whittaker too, and I know you have your reasons, but I just don't get it. And I mean, I rewatched when I flew over here. I rewatched the Khamzat versus what's it called, Kamaru Usman fight. I think people are misinterpreting that fight. I mean, I thought it was very dominant, even though it was a split decision. He clearly won the first round 10-8. I think hands down. I think the other two were very close, but like they could have gone one way, one the other way. But I think Khamzat should have won by 3 points easily. overall, I thought he did a great job, and he had a severe hand injury that impeded him. He did an amazing job on the takedowns. I mean, I just don't get why so many people are flipping to Whittaker. But I mean, what do you think about this 31-6 score from professionals? Are you surprised, or is this what you would have expected?
I mean, I am a little surprised. Yeah, I figured it'd be more 50-50 on who it is. But again, you talk about Usman. Usman's a 70 pounder, and Robert Whittaker's an 85 pounder. I mean, we're talking about a middleweight and a welterweight. I mean, the size difference in to go to split decision with Usman, even if the fight was at middleweight, I don't remember. I don't know what they weighed in
It
at.
was, yeah,
It was at
middleweight.
middleweight, but regardless, Usman isn't a middleweight, and Robert Whittaker is, and that's gonna play a part. I think the size difference, and again, like moving a welterweight around that goes up to middleweight compared to a middleweight that's going to be 220 pounds when he fights the next day. I think it's just going to be a little different, and I think that's why. And like I said, I like Khamzat, man. In the gym, I've met him a couple times. I don't know, he's not my buddy or anything, but the little interaction I've had with him, he's always been really cool, really funny, like always cracking jokes, trains really hard. He's an incredible wrestler. Um, with that
Mhm.
being said, I mean, all his notable wins have been circumstantial. And what I mean by that is, you look at like when he fought Usman, it was a short notice fight. When he fought Dustin Burns, he missed weight by like
Gilbert
10
Burns.
pounds. Or I always say Dustin. I don't know.
I know, it's all good.
Oh, you know what? Because I have a hometown friend named Dustin Burns. So anytime it's Gilbert
That's
Burns.
right.
Excuse me, guys. I say it every single time, and you guys can correct me every time. I don't. Like I said, I have a good friend back in Michigan. His name's Dustin Burns. So every time I think of that. But anyways, Gilbert, he missed weight by 10 or 15 pounds, and he walks up to him. He's like, "Oh, you're small, brother. You're small." And again, he beat a guy substantially smaller than him. And Robert Whittaker is not smaller than him. And Robert Whittaker is going to be ready for everything Hazmat has to throw at him.
Another thing that Demetrius Johnson said, he broke down the Hamza. I watched the breakdown of this fight, the Hamza versus Usman fight, and one of the things he said about Robert Whittaker, in contrast with Usman, is like his striking is much, much better. He's got that karate background. He hops around. That's going to be an interesting challenge, and I agree with all of that. But I do think, man, I mean, I think Usman, whether or not Robert Whittaker might have the best takedown defense in the middleweight division, is fair. But I think Usman definitely is a higher pedigree of wrestler. And Hamzat took him down many, many times, and had great success, amazing success in the first round. So I don't know. I'm still feeling like, and obviously I'm biased here as Hamzat is my favorite fighter, but I'm still feeling pretty strongly that Hamzat's going to have the advantage. He's going to pull it off. I guess we'll find out on Saturday. Okay, let me just go through a couple more comments, and we are going to call it a day because I got to get to the hotel, get ready, and we got to get over to this fight. So Lane said, dude, he's talking about Renan Fajeda. Dude is 6'8", 262 pounds, 80-inch reach. That's crazy. Tehran also says he would like to see a Colby Covington versus Charles Oliveira fight. I would like to see that, but I hate to say, I'm thinking more about the drama aspect, and I don't really see Colby talking that much smack to Charles. And because of the language barrier, the buildup would be lackluster to say the least. I think Charles would probably smoke him. I don't think Colby would be able to hold him onto the ground, especially with his jiu-jitsu. So I don't even think Colby would ever take that fight, I imagine. I do think he would definitely take the Dustin fight. Lane says Fajeda by KO. Well, this is Ngannou's teammate. Whoa now.
Hey,
And
man, hey, everyone has their opinion. It's all good. It's all good.
yeah, it's all good. And last but not least, Tehran says Colby can easily make 155. Colby will not make 155. No way. He's going to stack the cards in his favor for sure. He's going to ask Dustin to move up to what? I mean, right? Don't you think?
I think so too. Yeah, Kobe's a little fucking bitch, man. And you know what? Regardless, even if he saw this video and he confronted me, oh, you called me a bitch, like, bro, you are a bitch, man. Like, Colby Covington is the epitome of what fighters shouldn't be. And I used to like his antics. I used to like his trash talk. I used to get me excited about fights. But the guy's just a piece of shit. And I don't even. I mean, honestly, even if he fights unless if he fights Dustin Poirier, I'll tune in. But I'm not tuning in to watch Colby. I'm tuning in to watch Dustin. And if it's another no name fight, or if it's a no name opponent, like, I have no interest in watching Colby Covington fight. I have no interest in supporting his career. I hope he retires.
We need Colby against either Dustin or we need Colby against what's our boy in the welterweight division? Oh my God, why am I blanking his name?
Ian
Um,
Gary.
Ian Gary, sorry, I totally blank. Yeah, we need one of those fights. Okay. Anyways, let's see what happens. Guys, thank you so much for joining today. Again, we hit our highest numbers. We still got 15 on the stream. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a lot for us. If you could click that like button, we'd really appreciate it. And if you did enjoy what you saw today, make sure to subscribe and check back in with us every Monday and Friday at the same time. And we're going to have Brad Tavares from Extreme Couture on the show on Monday. So that's going to be super cool. Celine says, have an amazing weekend. See you next weekend. Awesome. Thank you, Celine, as always, for your continued support across the pond, as they say. So anyways, thank you guys so much. Again, check out Triller TV. Check out Fusion Fight League tonight. Me and Justin are going to be commentating. It's going to be so sick. Some amazing fighters that we've seen before. Montana hometown fighters is going to be amazing. So thank you guys so much, and we will see you next time. Take it easy.